Welcome back aboard the good airship Hopium. I am your host and captain, Snappydude, and today's in-flight movie is Master of Disguise. It's my birthday, and that's what I watch every year, so that's what we're fucking watching. Today, we're going to go over 5 tips for new gigantic players. I'm going to stress this. These are for new players. They don't apply to older players. They don't apply to players who have been around for a while and need to advance their mechanics. These are things that I would tell new people to do. If I was playing with a buddy and he had never played before, these are the things that I would tell him to sort of get his toes wet, to get him into the game in his first dozen or so matches. So let's get going. Number 5. Run, 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 run away. There is no harm in running away. Unlike other games, Gigantic has a very high time to kill. That means you have plenty of time to assess the situation, realize it's going terribly, and run away. And there's no shame in that. Running away is probably something a lot of newer players could do more in this game. There is no shame in running away. You should run away if your health is getting low. Dying is rarely going to benefit your team. If you die, you give the enemy team 10 energy and they are closer to a rampage. It is better to run away and take the hit to your pride. Number 4. Don't chase kills. Don't be a snappy. Back during Gigantic Prime, this was something that I was terrible at. And it's something that I see a lot of new people be very terrible at. A lot of times when you get in a fight with somebody, a 1v1, and you get to the point where you're just about to kill them, they'll run away. And a lot of times your first instinct is, I'm going to chase this guy down and I'm going to finish him off. But here's the problem. A lot of times if you've been in a fight, you're in no condition to dive behind enemy lines. And you will probably end up dead. Yes, you might secure your kill, but it's not going to matter. If you get your 10 energy for your team by getting that kill, but then you die and the enemy team gets 10 energy, it all balances out, baby. It's alchemy. Equivalent exchange. It don't mean nothing at that point. Sometimes it's better to just let your kill go and move on to the next fight or go back and heal. If you want to look at this from a positive lens, at least you took that enemy out of the fight for a little while. Yes, they're not dead, but at least you pushed them back. And this kind of ties in to that 5th one I talked about of running away. Doing these things, watching these things, it's just smart for learning to conserve your health and not be dead all the time in a game of Gigantic. Just play smart. Especially early on, you want to play a little bit more defensively while you're learning your characters. The more you're dead, the less time you spend learning your characters. Number 3. Don't attack or run around by the enemy guardian. This sounds like the dumbest thing to be on this list, but like I said, this list is for new people, and this is something that I see new people doing far, far more often than I would like to admit. At least a couple times a week, I play a game with somebody that's new, and they either attack the enemy guardian when the enemy guardian is not down, or they run around in the area around the enemy guardian. If you're new to this game, and you have not played it enough to realize this, you cannot hurt the enemy guardian except during rampages. So, if your guardian is not sitting on top of the enemy guardian, do not waste your time attacking the enemy guardian. You are doing nothing to it. Also, do not run around by the enemy guardian. The enemy guardian will attack you. It will do damage to you. Do not run over there. Do not chase kills over there. you will die. The enemy guardian will shoot you. The other enemy team members will take advantage of that bonus damage and lay down their own, and they will finish you off. It is not a good place to be. Do not go near the enemy guardian except during rampages. This is such a silly one to be on this list. But gosh darn it, it has to be on this list because I run into it way too much. Number 2, stick with your team. This is one that's going to be a bit more controversial. Some of the more advanced Gigantic players are going to tell you, depending on your character, you might need to use different strategies. You might need to be going and attacking enemy creatures or getting behind the enemy front lines. And that's great. That's fantastic. Once you've advanced in the game and once you've gotten comfortable with a character and learned their playstyle and stuff like that. But when you're very first starting out, the best thing you can do to learn your character is to play with your character in situations where there's a little bit less pressure on you. And that means playing with your team. Stick around your team wherever they're at. Play with them. They'll take some of the pressure off you and give you a little bit more space to learn, because Gigantic is a hard game to learn. I acknowledge that. I think most of the community acknowledges that. We want you to learn the game. We want you to come back and play some more. And the best way to do that is for you to make this the easiest learning curve possible. So just take some pressure off yourself. Don't try to do crazy 2v1s when you're just starting the game. Stick with your team, and it will go a lot better for you. Before we get to number 1, I'm going to throw in an honorary mention. 1.5. So 1.5 is use the Discord looking for group section. This is something I was talking about the other day with Banjax. It's a great feature that is not being utilized enough by the community. Everybody's out there looking for games. There's this mysterious solo queue bug that everybody keeps telling me exists. So why struggle? Why try to play solo, especially when you're trying to learn the game? It's just harder. It can make queue times longer. It can make you struggle when you're playing alone. You have nobody to get advice from. So where should you turn to? The Discord looking for group section. Go there. Look for a group. Make a post. And make some friends. Because if you have Gigantic friends, you'll probably come back to Gigantic again. Number 1. Number 1 is experiment. Yes, just like your college years. I want you to experiment. Oh, I want you to experiment all day. I just want you to experiment. Experiment with characters. Experiment with different ways to upgrade those characters. Experiment with playing the map differently. Just try different things. One of the things that I find with Gigantic is that once a player finds a character that they jive with the playstyle of, they're a lot more likely to stick it out. A lot of people jump on, they try 1 or 2 characters, they think this isn't the game for them, and they move on. If you don't know which characters to maybe start with, that's fine. You can ask around the community, or you can just bullshit it, and maybe you'll find something that sticks. But the point is, there's a lot to Gigantic. And experimenting with different characters and different playstyles and different builds, there's nothing wrong with that. It's going to help you learn. It's going to help you learn what works, what doesn't work, and what works for you is most important. So just be experimental. Play the game, have fun. Dun dun dun. Tip 0 has entered the chat. So, when I was making this list, there was one thing that I didn't put on it that I wish I had put on it. And so, it has become the infamous Tip 0. But before we get to Tip 0, if you made it this far in the video, like, subscribe. I'd like to see you return. Leave a comment below. Tell me, what is your tip for new players in Gigantic? But now, on to Tip 0. So Tip 0, like I said, wasn't planning on doing this, but I thought of it when I was going through this list, kind of after the fact. Tip 0 is learn the game type. Both Clash and Rush are similar in a lot of ways, but they're both different in a lot of ways. But the most important thing they share is that energy meter at the top of the screen. Learn what's going on with that, and it will help you start to decode what you should be doing in any match of Gigantic. Once you start watching that meter, you're going to become a much better player. Once you start understanding that kills are adding to that creature kills are adding to that energy gathered is adding to that, once you start watching that and really understanding what ticks that meter up, you're going to become a better player because you're going to start to understand what you should and should not be doing. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining me aboard the airship Hopium. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you go play some Gigantic. Now, I'm off. Probably to eat some tacos. I'll see you next time. Snappydude out, y'all. Bye!